I didn't know.
Did they
how
put
we're
everybody's
asking.
picture in the paper?
I think so.
Okay.
Very, yeah.
Where were you guys at?
We had fun. It was quick.
Because I started
Downtown
downtown, man, I didn't know he was a good
Trivia.
golfer. I said, well, there's another
Neither
picture.
Shane nor I knew
There's
either
another
one
faded
would be
picture.
there.
Did not play well.
We're on.
Not well.
I'm a
It was
golfer,
fun.
I'm just not good at it.
I love to play.
I keep saying
I will
I'm
call this meeting of Seneca County Commissioners order Tuesday, June 11th. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, please bow your head for a short prayer. Heavenly Father, please be with us today as we make decisions for the citizens of Seneca County. Please watch over all those men and women who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen. Okay, roll call is in order.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Here.
Commissioner Thomas,
Here.
Commissioner Space.
Here.
Okay, I will accept motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Tuesday, June 27th, and the written index thereof.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Here we go. All right, let's talk about any adjustments to the agenda here.
I would like to add under old, the museum meetings, and then under new, county fair display for discussion.
Mr. Thomas, anything from you?
No, it's good, thank you.
All right, well, let's begin then under new business with, or under old business, I guess, with the museums. Since that's a decent topic.
Yeah, just a reminder, the museum town hall meetings, which is part of the process that we're doing for the organizational and board development, Ohio History Connection grant that we've received, are taking place. One right now as we speak is underway, and the second one today at 1 o'clock, both at the Tiffin YMCA, and then there's one Thursday evening, 7 p.m. at the Tiffin Seneca County Library. So continue to encourage anybody whose schedules now accommodate, don't need to let us know they're coming, just show up and have an opportunity to give us input on the museum meetings. There were 17 out there when they started at 9 o'clock this morning, so that was encouraging, and we just hope we continue to get people to consider getting out there to those meetings, because the input will be great to helping us develop initiatives for the museum.
Well, on Thursday, you can kill two birds with one stone. You'll be able to see the new library and all its renovations,
Oh, that's right? Yep,
and you would also be able to participate in a museum meeting, so
yep.
two good things to accomplish. Okay, Justice Center, do you want to bring us up to date on that?
Sure. The recent sidewalk superintendent, as posted end of last week, shows what you can, on the outside, what you can see is obviously the masonry work that's going on and continues. A little bit of obstructions with the weather yesterday, but I think overall we can't complain. Looks like they're planning to finish the brick veneering, cast stone installation, fireproof the 4th floor. These are all things happening this week. And interior drywall on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd floors is on the list.
Well, the judge is a little concerned about the progress because they walked off the job yesterday because of a little bit of lightning.
Oh, tell you what. They walk all over that scaffolding in windy days and they leave for lightning. What the heck?
Our storm radio went off, and I almost opened the window and told the guy, "You better get off of that steel scaffolding," because that was not gonna end well. So, it ended well.
And they've got key features, milestone dates on here of set the cupola mid-August, brick veneer complete mid-August, and storm retention system set mid-September.
Perfect.
Then the cornerstone images they were sending around needing final decisions on. Now, don't ask me to explain, even though I just saw the email and read it, that explains the symbolic images here, but we need to give them the feedback on this very soon. So we need to share that with Stace if we've got opinions. I'm just thinking if we can put the September date on it, I'm good with it as is, but like I said, we need to think about it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you've seen that email or not. And-
I actually like it.
Yeah, so I think it's cool. It's
I like it.
the
Simple,
compass.
clean.
Yeah, these are
Pretty seamless.
the right angle, is that what that's called? They'll use that as part of this. In the ceremony, it said G is for the geometry and for the great architecture or something there was, but it's all be part of their ceremony. But what's on it, John was able to share with me the images of the old Quarterstone, and that has a date on it, and it says who, but I do like this, but, so anyway. September 15th is the targeted date, so as long as we're comfortable putting that, engraving that in stone, casting that in stone, as we so say. I like the date on it, but that's just an opinion.
Yeah, I'm indifferent about that as
Yeah.
long as the date holds.
Yeah. Maybe that'll make it happen.
But just to clarify, I think we need to order that, right?
He needs an answer very soon, so it gets ordered, yeah, like this week.
So do we
I guess if
want
you got
to-
opinions, Stacy will collect them and we can, they all saw that email, right? That went to the whole leadership team.
Yep.
So the city folks saw
There's been
everything
some, there's
else.
been some response at this point, right?
Yeah, I think,
Yeah, and I did a reply to all so that people knew I asked those questions about what this meant and
I
stuff.
think the
And
mayor asked what it meant. He said not that he didn't like the design, he was just wanting to know what it meant,
Yeah,
so.
So, from my perspective, I'm comfortable with it as is, some minor modifications, but I just don't want to hold it up.
it's probably safer without putting the September date on it. I mean, we could have that on, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that was my only thought. Was if
I
the
mean, we
date
do,
doesn't
I mean, we
hold for
obviously
some
have,
reason-
we obviously have this in 2017 on it there, so.
Somebody still explain the definition of the AL 6017?
I don't know if he had that in the email or not.
I didn't see it anywhere, that's why I wondered what that meant.
We'll find out.
4,000 years from now?
We'll check.
If it's well built, I don't think it'll last that long,
I'm sure that has some other significance, but I don't know what it is.
obviously. I'm not an expert.
We'll ask that.
Okay.
But I'm good with it as is too. But
Very good. Okay, John, yes.
And one
yes.
thing on Gilboa Justice Center, back in November 16, we knew we would have a change order for the generator. It was a code requirement that was missed when we actually bid the project, so we knew we were gonna have a generator. The change order was almost 82,000. We knew this was coming. Since we were working on the annex building, some of the ideas and renovations on the annex building, I had asked Gilbane to get a quote. Instead of having 2 generators, because with the data center and going into the annex, instead of having 2 ugly generators sitting out there, I had asked Gilbane to give us some cost on increasing the size of the generator and whatever wiring needs done. So Gilbane and I think it was Klaus Electric and has been working with Abby and Mike Arnold, and they come to what I think it is agreement, taking it up from an 80 kilowatts to 125 kilowatts for both buildings. It would take it up to 135,380. So initial was 82,000, so they'd take it up to 135.
Okay, so we had this as part of the contingency, we knew this from the beginning?
Yes, it's been included in all the numbers through the meetings. It's going up to the 135. It will be a change.
So the difference of $50,000 or thereabouts would be out of general.
We can
Improvement
we
fund.
put 500,000 aside for the annex renovation, so
Okay,
we
so we
can
can
pull
take
it out of there.
it. So it wouldn't come out of the budget for the courthouse, it'll come out of the budget for
Right,
annex renovation.
yep. But I just need the approval because they do have some electrical and wiring things they need to do soon.
And I would assume the 2 separate generators are significantly more than that.
Yeah, yes. We just didn't think, I mean, they're big and they're kind of ugly.
And that will power elevators?
They do elevators, help me out, elevators,
Yeah.
exit lights.
Right.
Exit lights?
The elevators in the courthouse, not the annex.
Right.
We power the elevators, the exit lights.
And all of our tech,
Yep.
our data center?
And then, yes, and then it'll go additionally to the data center in the annex, located in the annex. But all the power for that data center is coming from the courthouse. That way, when the courthouse goes down, you know, the generator will work properly.
Yep.
So that's a little bit of additional wiring and stuff. But that's what it's for. It doesn't cover the annex per se.
And what about the cooling in the data center?
That'll cover.
Yeah,
That would be covered. That's part, that wiring and everything for the data center will be covered
Including
under
the
the
cooling.
generator, correct?
Yeah, okay.
Because that'll be separate from the building, heating and cooling.
Right.
The data center will be now separate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, your recommendation on this?
Please?
Your recommendation about?
Is to go with it, yes. We worked we looked at every angle, and we worked on it pretty good, and that's the best deal we got.
Okay, motion for second.
I'll move.
Okay,
I'll second.
good. Roll call, please. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
Do you want to do Charlene since she was scheduled at 10?
Sure.
You can proceed with your new business and
Okay.
then
Okay.
I'll go after it, that's fine.
Okay.
The only thing I had on the Justice Center is next week I'll probably have a recommendation from the Landscape and Lighting Committee for our final recommendation. So we'll need to get rolling on that, but just to give you a heads up that that's going to be coming.
Yeah, Charlene, you better go ahead, because I do have something else scheduled at 10:30, so we're gonna keep this thing online here.
Okay. Have a couple things to present. The first thing that I would like to present is the Rural Community Development Initiative grant application process. This is a grant that came up that is available to our area that will help with some funding on multiple levels for regional planning. I talked with my executive committee for regional planning, and we are going to work with a consultant to do the application process because it is due July 24th, and the fact that I have over $700,000 worth of grants due Friday, I don't have the time to commit to this. But we do know that this could be a last-ditch effort, and it could be eliminated from the federal budget next year, so we want to try to apply for it. The Rural Community Development Initiative grant will help with multiple items, and it's basically technical assistance and advisory and planning. So when you think of regional planning, we're thinking of the vision, the future, and where we're going from there. And what we're looking at is moving forward with our comprehensive land use plan and what funds we can access to do that. This would be one of the options. A portion of these funds could be used towards the comprehensive land use plan, so the taxpayer dollars are not going into it. We're not increasing other funding, coming to the commissioners for other funding for it. So we're looking at a way to reduce costs. The consultant, because they have never applied for a rural community development grant, it's a whole, the RCDI is how I'm going to refer to it, because they've never applied for one, they looked at this as a learning initiative for them and actually offered us a drastically discounted rate for their consultant fee. So typically they charge 20% of whatever you apply for as their consultant fee, and they are probably about 5% is what we're looking at. And the Executive Committee for Regional Planning Board has approved that we pay for that from our funds, and we are proceeding with the grant application. So through the grant application, we talked to our representative at USDA, vetted out who needs to be the applicant, who needs to be the recipient or beneficiary, and how this proceeds. And per the representative at USDA, he stated that the county needs to be the applicant and regional planning would be the beneficiary and administrator of it. If we made regional planning be the applicant, that's not allowable. We have to make the county do it, be the applicant, and move forward. So I presented a resolution today to the county to allow regional planning to be the beneficiary, as they put it, or the recipient of the Rural Community Development Initiative grant. And we would be applying for $80,000, and it's a 1-to-1 match, so it would end up being $160,000. And there would be the other $80,000 match would come from regional planning's set-aside funds, not really set-aside, but our appropriated funds for salaries, for the comprehensive land use plan, and for our other operational expenses. So drastically cutting our costs is what we're looking at trying to do. This is a competitive process, so of course, there's no guarantee that we're going to get the funding, but we need two things from the county commissioners. One, the approval to apply and allow regional planning to be the beneficiary. And we also need approval from the county commissioners to use CT Consultants as the consultant. And in the resolution that we submitted, it did state that regional planning would pay for the consultant fee. So that is one thing that I am submitting today and wanted to talk to you about. If you got any questions about it, I'm glad to answer those for you.
So they're going to be they're going to generate $4,000 in administrative fees, is what, if they're successful?
Yes, it's whether they're successful or not. They get a $4,000 fee for writing the grant. And then regional planning has agreed to pay that fee.
Who is CT Consultants, please?
CT Consultants is a consultant out of the Toledo area that actually has done multiple projects in the city of Tiffin, as well as other areas, grant applications. They have an extensive background in engineering and planning and grant applications. They were very successful with receiving the downtown project for the city of Tiffin, working with SIDEC. So I know the representative Danielle, and I'm familiar with her.
Well, you know, on one side of the coin, it's great that they reduce the price for us. But on the other side of the coin, it concerns me that the learning curve is awfully steep if they have never applied for a grant like this in the past. Did we talk to WSOS about their desire?
I did not, because of the fact that they are doing multiple ones at this time right now. I think they're working on 2 or 3 different RCDI grant applications, and I didn't want to cause the burden on them on a short notice of doing this, as well as Danielle has talked to me previously about maybe exploring an opportunity to work with me, and I have faith that she can do it. She's been working on it pretty hard, done a lot of research already, and she's vetted out a great amount of information, as well as sat in on the RCDI webinars that they've had hosted for us.
Well, this is a lot of information, I think, here to absorb this morning. I don't have any problem with allowing regional planning to be the recipient and/or beneficiary, quote unquote, of this grant. I am concerned that when we talk about that the grants department under the authority of Seneca County Regional Planning and authorizing the director to sign off financial and contractual personnel documents, I mean, I don't know, I think we need to have a bit of a discussion before we say in general that all grants are going from the county are going to come through regional planning. That may be a good thing, it may be a bad thing, but it's not anything that I want to make a decision about without being better informed.
And is that separate from the first 2 asks you have here? I mean,
Yes,
it's not
it
here to
is.
discuss, but it's not part
Okay,
of
well-
using
It is
CT
separate.
or.
Okay, so what I need to know, I see all these bullet points. Specifically, we're asking for approval to apply for the RCBI, or DI, is that correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
And then we're asking for approval to use CT Consultants.
Correct?
We don't have to approve the $4,000 because that's going through regional planning.
That is correct.
So the 2 things that we're approving are applying for the grant, the 3 things, making regional planning the recipient and using CT Consultants.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make that clear
Do you
because,
have the contract for CT Consultants?
She's in the process of finalizing that for
So
us.
we need to make that contingent upon prosecutor's approval?
MKS review contracts. What do you 2 think about the fact that CT Consultants have not ever applied for an RCBI?
Yeah, I don't know them personally, but I know that the city has a substantial relationship with them. And we were working on something else, and the mayor said, you know, call these folks, they'll take your call. And I think it was the sidewalks we were talking to them about. And so, I think the city has a substantial relationship with them. So, you know, from that standpoint, I'm comfortable that they think they can do it. I don't know any different.
Okay, I don't know any different either. I just know that working through WSOS, that I've seen this specific grant come through before.
Yeah, I don't know that, yeah.
And I'm concerned about the learning curve here.
I guess I'm comfortable just because we talked about it exec, so I've had a little more background to it sooner than you guys had, but because we talked about what their role was, the city involvement, what they've done, and other things.
Okay, if you guys are comfortable with it, I'm okay.
So, yeah.
So we need a motion then to approve the application for the ICDI grant to name Seneca Regional Planning Commission as the recipient of the funds, authorizing the board president to sign on behalf of the county commissioners, and approving CT Consultant Services as the company to apply for this grant.
So moved.
I will second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy,
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Christian.
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right, and then the next thing I have is that we have a resolution it's an amended resolution putting the grants department under regional planning. In July of 2006, a resolution was done by the Seneca County Commissioners that had the Seneca County Grants Department under the authority of Seneca Regional Planning Commission and authorizing the Executive Director of Regional Planning to sign all financial, contractual, and personal documents. This resolution also included information for the city of Fostoria, because at that time they were doing some grant writing for the county as well, and were receiving a 5% fee. Per our grant requirements, when we apply for some of these grants, and especially for our community development block grant, we have to show that regional planning has authorization from the county commissioners to do these services, to do the grant writing, to do the administrative services. The resolution from 2000 was acceptable during our audit that we just had for 15 and 14 for the CDBG grant. Our auditor said, you need to get this updated. We'll accept it this last time, but you need to get it amended. So I have to submit it with our grant application on Friday. So I have amended a resolution and submitted that resolution to be approved. The resolution reads basically exactly the same as the old one, except it takes out the 5% to the city of Fostoria for the services that were previously quoted, because that's no longer happening, and it supersedes that one. It's just exactly the same as it was in 2006. It just also spells out that we have a right to sign our memorandums of understanding.
Is this under a time constraint for you? Do we need to get this done for any particular reason soon?
Have to submit on Friday.
Okay, well, here's the concern that I have, and I don't know if to talk this through, I guess, but for example, Ken made the application on safety services grant, $300-some thousand. Under this structure, would that mean that regional planning would administer that?
No. And it would mean like if the judges went through the Ohio, there was some stuff through the Ohio Criminal Justice Grant, and they applied for that on their own, they could do that. This is just the ones that we direct, and these state ones that require, if she's going to do it, that she has this set up through us. Doesn't mean all grants would have to come through us.
Okay, well,
By any
maybe
means,
it's the
no.
language. It says, moving the Seneca County Grants Department under the authority of Seneca Regional Planning Commission and authorizing the Executive Director of Regional Planning to sign all financial, contractual, and personnel documents. Does that
Related
not-
to those grants.
Related to all
right?
grants for the county.
Well, the ones that she's doing for us. I
No,
mean,
but that's the problem, is it doesn't say
Oh.
that. It says
Yeah.
all grants for Seneca County.
And the previous one did not say that as well. I have the one from 2000, so I brought it with me just so you could see what it looked like. And you have it. And I based it off of that resolution from 2000. If we want to make the minor change, I'm sure Nikki can make that minor change for us.
Did you check with the Ohio Department of Development, because there was a letter done to the auditor by the commissioners following in August of 2000, changing some wording because there was some issues. After consulting with the Ohio Department of Development, we have been informed that whenever Seneca County is a grantee and a grantee authority, the commissioners must sign all documents. So did you check on this one? I know you've seen this.
We know that they have to sign everything. This is to make sure that if there's something minor that comes through, just like with the mosquito control grant, that was a grant that was under Regional Planning's administration. We needed proof that we were allowed to administer it and sign documents that we could submit to the auditor. We submit this,
use that old
that
resolution is what you do.
this
Well-
shows that we have the authorization. We also know and keep that on record, the letter from regarding what the commissioners have to sign, we keep that on record, so we know exactly what you have to sign, which I know you have to sign the drawdowns, you have to sign the reports, you have to sign the grant application where it's indicated, all that good stuff. That's why we bring those things to you guys to sign as well.
I just have a problem giving carte blanche authority for a specific purpose for the county to be under a government-sponsored agency, which is what this is. Now, you know, the language maybe can be narrowed. I need some time to absorb this. My problem is, here we are on Tuesday, need to have this done by Friday, and I really haven't had a chance to review this.
I mean, it's updating of one that's already does exist. I mean, but
Well,
Yeah, I'm in the same position Mike is. It's not sinking into me yet, so.
I mean, I'm willing to have a session on Thursday
Yeah,
to approve
okay.
it if we need to, but I just need a chance to at least review it.
Can we just do it based on what she needs for right now and then?
What
Amendment for
does
next
she
week.
need for right now?
Because they prefer to have an updated one versus one from 2006, right?
2000.
2000.
Yeah, that's 17 years old, so yeah.
Well, according to this, it gives signing authority to the regional planning director, and according to this letter, the signing authority has to be with the commissioners. The commissioners are ultimately responsible for these grants, and they are the grantee and the contracting authority. We can only give regional planning administrative responsibility, according to this letter signed by 3 previous commissioners.
Yeah, and that is for the CDBG grant, that's that authority.
It doesn't say that there. It says that it says in this letter, grants.
That is on. We can make any changes you want, I'm glad to, and if you want to do it on Thursday, that's fine as well.
Maybe we can meet Thursday. I mean, I can understand you need time to think. through it.
Yeah, I just don't understand it well enough to be able to make
Yeah.
an informed decision, that's
Yeah.
all.
And there's no resolutions that happened in between 2000 and now that we're aware of that deal
Not
with
that we
this?
could find. And
Fine.
The auditor's actually the one that sent us a copy of that letter after they found that
You
resolution.
know, I just want to make sure it doesn't preclude the engineer and the EMS and the auditor and the clerk to apply for their own grants.
Or the commissioners themselves.
Or the commissioners
And it
themselves.
hasn't yet, because we did apply for our own too. But
Yeah,
All
the Tiffin
just-
Charitable Foundation, you know, that.
Sure. I mean, yeah. Who is the beneficiary of these grants? Is regional planning always going to be the beneficiary of these grants?
I would say no.
And if that's the case, I think that we got a problem with that.
No, I don't think it's meaning that, but
Okay.
you're right. You put
But-
in the application, probably does.
Yeah, let me know what you want in there, and we will definitely change that for you.
Can
I'm-
we add the words, I didn't know this was an amending one, but can we add the words amending and then whatever that journal date, page, and the day of that session was? I can send it to you, but I think that would need, if we're gonna, if it's an amending resolution, we should have that on there.
There's a lot of things in there that aren't relevant anymore, fuss words.
That'd be great. We can do that. Yes.
I mean, we want this to be well-oiled, and we want to be able to go through the grant process, and we have given regional planning the charge of, getting as many grants as possible, and all that's good. But on the other hand, we don't want to give all authority to one agency when others may need to have it, including the county.
Perfectly fine with that. I just need to know how you want it to read, and we'll make sure the changes are made for you. I'm good.
So do we want to meet on Thursday then?
Well.
I mean, or is there a way?
Can we, is there a way we can make a motion pending review of the current language to allow regional planning to administer county grants, but to make it clear that it's not necessarily all of them? If she has our authority, or regional planning has the authority to administer the grants as so specified by the commissioner,
Or as requested by the commissioners, or?
as requested, specified. I mean, there would have to be some language, and again, I'd want Derek to take a look, based on the letter that other commissioners had in previous years of some concern.
Yeah, I mean, that's the spirit of what I would like to see, but I don't know that we can create a motion that's that nebulous without actually seeing the language, so.
Okay, well, let's just, if the timing is that you have to have it Friday, we'll meet Thursday to, for one agenda item
Yep, make it happen.
meeting.
10 a.m.?
It's not, or Wednesday, whatever, your pleasure, guys, I don't know. Whatever you think, Friday morning.
When do you guys need cow minch? You need some cow minch?
Thursday would be
Our
fine.
24-hour notice, we'd have to say
Actually-
not before 10:31 tomorrow. if you don't do that.
Well, is there any conflict in anybody's schedule on Wednesday or Thursday?
Were you folks planning on going to the mental health open house at 11 o'clock?
I was just going to mention, there's an open house at 11, but that's,
Okay,
if
on
we do
Thursday.
it 10
Yeah.
o'clock, we're going to be done.
Yeah, well.
So if you go
Thursday.
at 9 maybe or something.
No, we're going to need 2 hours, so we do it at 10.
Never
Please,
know.
10.
All right, let's make it at 10 o'clock on Thursday.
Perfect, we'll get that adjusted there. Thank you. That's why we present it, to make sure that we have the right wording and get what you need and make sure it makes sense to you guys. There is another resolution that we're submitting, and this is to go with the 2 critical infrastructure grants that we're applying for. One for the Village of Republic and one for the Village of Bloomville through the CDBG competitive funding. We needed to add in the general administration and fair housing portion of those, so we just need your authorization to apply for those as well. For the Village of Republic, the general admin and fair housing portion of that equals $43,868 that we would request from the ODSA. And then for the Village of Bloomville, it would be $23,930 that we would be requesting from the ODSA.
Tell me, 43 and 23, tell me what that money's gonna be used for?
That is administration and fair housing for both of those projects. So the general admin of the projects, doing the advertising, the bidding, the going out and doing the labor compliance, prevailing wage, invoicing.
How much is the total grant on Republic money?
Ooh, I did not bring those with me. This is 20% of the grant amount.
So times 5, so it's a
Yes, a
$200,000.
little over $200,000.
$15,000 grant. You get, there's $43,000 administrative fee on a $215,000 grant.
We can charge we charge 20% admin fee is what they recommend. And then you use it for fair housing as well. So we have to do fair housing initiatives in the Village of Republic and the Village of Bloomville. So we hold a meeting with them, give them fair housing information, put out brochures to just them, as well as signage and, educating and doing the complaint system.
I don't know, I mean, it's $43,000 and a $200,000 grant sound a lot to you guys, or is that me?
Well, when we had this discussion a few years ago before you guys were on the board, I know, again, the percentages that were being asked for on various grants range from 7% to 20%. But it was always presented at following the recommendation from the state, because they want you to fully carry out that fair housing program. I just remember that discussion, so I guess I'm not surprised by the percentage.
Jeff always brought that
Yeah,
up, that,
yeah. He wanted
just
it to
because
be
you can
less.
ask for 20% doesn't mean we need to.
Yeah, yeah,
They
Yeah,
recommend you ask for it so you can fully carry out the project.
yeah. And like I said,
How
I
did
would look
the-
at it with the confidence of knowing what we've carried out with regional planning, and, and I think the reaction of the state has been favorable to Seneca County, that we've done well, and I think that has lent itself to say, I know we have capabilities carrying out the full program and utilizing it.
the problem with this is, I get it, but the problem with this is that $43,000 comes from somebody's tax money. If we don't spend it, it's less money spent for administration. I mean, to have a program, to have a grant that takes 20% to administer, especially of this size, just, it rubs against the grain to me.
All community development block grant funding is a 20% administration fee under the grant applications.
And that's
Because of the magnitude of what we have to do, putting things out to bid, we can use that to pay for our engineering fees and other things as well.
The advertising.
But
Advertising.
not all grants are successful, right?
Correct, not all grant that's applied for under the competitive set-aside is successful. You are competing against how many others, so what we're trying to do is compete for 2 projects. Very hopeful that we get them, but that doesn't mean we're going to. We're
Well, in
just,
fact, as a chunk of that work is done, I don't know what percentage you put on it, before you
right,
to apply, you don't get it, you never recoup anything for that, just experience.
Correct.
Chalk it up for experience.
Yeah, but I remember this board has had comments and conversations about thinking 7.5% was too much for administering certain grants.
Yeah, but knowing it going into it, I mean, like I said, this is,
Yeah, I get it.
we know this going into it.
Okay. All right, so the request is at the table. I will accept the motion or not for these 2 items.
So moved.
Second,
Any other discussion? Okay, take the roll call.
Commissioner Stacy?
yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
No.
and then we do have a resolution that we submitted for the supplemental appropriations for the Ohio History Connection for the lower pipeline, the Historic Preservation Fund. We've received those funds. Now we just need to appropriate those funds, so that's why we've submitted it. And then once everything's signed off, we will do purchase orders and start contacting the entities to start paying them. I know the Village of Republic has already contacted us, and I think they are, well, the Republic Scipio Heritage Foundation, they are ready to receive their $800. So as soon as this is done, next
Wow.
week when I'm out of grant writing heaven, I will get a hold of them so we can disperse funds to them. just wanted to let you know that.
You don't need any action with that?
I'll read
She's
it.
got it.
that one.
Just wanted to let you know. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Give
so.
me a real quick
uh,
heads up, Republic got all their income surveys done and good to go.
We're good to go.
Those are good for 5 years.
Correct.
All right.
I just want to make clear for the record at the end of the discussion that I believe there should be some administrative fee paid, but I think 20% is too much. That's the reason that I voted no. Okay, so we have Job and Family Services here at 10:30. Kathy's lovely face is here, so would you like,
Good morning.
morning.
It's good to see you guys. So what we brought up for you is the PRC plan, and we bring that up once a year. PRC stands for Prevention, Retention, and Contingency, and these are federal funds that come through the state to us, and they are to be used, there's eligibility, but for the purpose of getting people off benefits. So all the services that you see in our plan are to support employment and get people off of assistance. So we talk to partners to develop the plans, such as Family and Children's Council, Education, Department of Development, there's a bunch of people we talk to, a mental health board, and they give input into the plan. So the services are really, the majority are employment-based, repairing vehicles so people can continue to work, gas cards so people can continue to work in their limited time, and those sorts of things, uniforms and stuff like that. There is one set of services that is more on the protective side of things to keep kids in their home safely, and that would be family preservation. That's things like if a kid's not in a house where maybe there's not heat or whatever, we can get that fixed so the family can be safe in the home. That's the one set of services that really isn't around employment. So, should we bring this for your approval? Do you guys have any questions for me on this?
Do we have a copy of the plan that will be memorialized with?
Yes.
We do have that, okay, very good.
Yes. Anything else for me? Okay.
Has anything changed from the
Nope.
previous?
Nope. Everything's good.
Do we need action with that, or that'll be signed? We
Nope.
need, okay, need a motion to approve the PRC revision and implementation of prevention, retention, and contingency plan that will be effective July the 11th.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes. Okay, back to the other part of the agenda. County buildings and storage. Here we go,
Thanks.
John.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you. Ken.
in the past, we've talked about our records retention and storage and so forth, and I just wanted to bring back up to the board that we're still dealing with some very old storage buildings. 81 is, had roof issues, it's had boiler issues, and we keep it up, we keep it going, and we keep it full. I think what our goal is to be, to do records retention and to get the storage out of the building, and what do we do with that storage? And the idea right now is, we have a couple different types of storage. We have historical storage and we have working storage. Working storage being the courts and the legal department in and out of there on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, needing documents, needing to put documents back in. So we've got a couple different storage obligations there that we're looking at. What do we do? Do we build a building? Do we build it out south? Do we build it in town? Do we rent a building? How are we going to handle this? I don't have these answers, but I need the board to consider starting to look at this, start making some decisions on this.
Okay, so there's, the big picture questions, at least from my standpoint, tell me if I'm wrong or right, or what we need to consider. We have some documents that need accessibility on a regular basis.
Correct.
And we have some documents that are basically vintage, for lack of a better word, documents that just simply need to be archived.
Correct.
Okay. We have some departments that need a secure building or part of a building for their documents.
Correct.
And we need all this stuff to be somehow climate controlled so it doesn't deteriorate.
Should all be climate controlled, yes.
And most of the folks want if they had their best desire, would want it someplace walkable from the courthouse, and that's the ideal situation, right?
That would be for especially the working documents.
Okay.
So if you want to ever break it down into, so many square foot for the working documents, so many square foot for historical documents, but yes.
And if we were gonna continue to use 81 Jefferson Street and/or what will be an empty Carnegie Library, what kinds of things would have to happen to be able to put those facilities in shape to do it? I don't wanna stick you with any related costs, but
Right.
just some thoughts.
Thought is Carnegie Library is probably one of the worst constructed buildings to do this in. You have to walk up to get in the building. Once you're in that building, you gotta go up again to the first floor or down to the second floor. There's no elevator in this building. The building has been added to room-wise, walls and so forth. That would need probably some attention. It has an old boiler that's going to need to be replaced. We just recently replaced the air conditioning unit. The occupants of the building right now, which is juvenile court and probate, they still need air conditioning and stuff for at least a year before they get out, and that was $7,000. So we're taking care of the building, but we're not replacing boilers. We don't want to get into that if we're not going to use that. The building's not very good for document storage.
Have we done any really cost analysis on the Carnegie as far as putting an elevator in there?
No.
I mean, has there ever been, is that ever?
No, we've never gone that far,
I think they did years ago.
Oh, okay.
I had to look that back up, because I think they talked about it, and it was gonna be either on, through Judge Meyer's chambers, or it would have to be in that parking lot.
That would be my thought.
To the east.
Yeah, so, I'd have to try to pull that stuff back out, but I do remember them talking about it at one point.
Yeah, I guess from my standpoint, I feel like we need to we owe it to ourselves to at least look at the Carnegie and eliminate that as an option if that's the case, or affirm it, because there is, a number of people who have suggested that would be a good solution. Clearly, we'd have to put an elevator in, and it would have to, in my opinion, would have to go in that parking lot. An archive center wouldn't require a lot of parking, which is one nice thing, because the Carnegie has one. And it's close from a proximate standpoint. My concern is what kind of costs we're going to get into, and whether or not it actually meets the need from a square footage standpoint and a climate controlled standpoint, and what the elevator would cost. But for me, I need to know that that is or isn't an option.
It's not just the elevator, though, it's also the roof. It has an expensive type of roof on it. Maintenance for that would be one thing, replacement would be another. So, the
I
windows,
just
the
need
windows
to
and
eliminate that
everything.
or affirm that as an option. So
Right.
the best way to do that, and I'm open to thoughts here. I don't know if we retain somebody and do a quick study of it to see what we would cost, and then compare that to building new, or how we proceed. I think if we just spitball it on that, we're gonna
Yeah,
miss
I got
a
no
lot.
problem with getting an estimate to see whether or not that is feasible. I mean, I've got a sense about it, but I'm happy to
I'm not.
take a look.
I'm with you.
And I think, okay, so we would determine either add that to the list of possibilities or erase it. The second alternative would be to try to find something downtown, or something near the new justice facility, that may be privately owned, that wouldn't take up any retail space. We've got some room in CSB, is that what I understand?
Correct, we have some offices from the old victims assistance. We have some room up there.
Okay, but that would be kind of part and parcel, I mean, that would be separate rooms, there wouldn't be a big,
Correct.
Okay.
There's 4 separate offices, there's a small
But-
conference room and so forth. There's,
But
Those
might be
walls
a-
could be taken out, right? Those were put in later.
I think most of them can, yeah. They're
what
not-
might be an alternative to those folks that need some of that stuff on a regular basis?
That would be correct, yeah.
Okay, then I think, I mean, again, the second option would be to find something downtown that would be good space and, that we could lease or, occupy at a low cost. And then the third option would be to build a facility that was meant to be a storage facility, and an archival center. And either own it or lease it or do whatever makes the most sense. The problem with it is we talk about cost, but if we start adding up, you know, the maintenance costs and the ongoing cost of Carnegie, and then talk about the raising cost of 81 Jefferson, you know, now we've got 4 or 5 years worth of a lease paid for a new building that suits our purpose. So, I mean, we have to do a cost analysis, I get that, and we should. So let's move that forward. You know, let's try to find a contractor who can give us a bid about putting an elevator and their opinion about how you can configure Carnegie to be a storage facility and what that will cost to get it there. And then I think that we ought to at least pursue any buildings that might be available downtown as to lease cost, to compare it. And then maybe ask a question as to where and if could we build a building of, how many square feet do you think?
Everything from 2 to 10,000.
So I mean,
We're occupying around 20,000 right now.
Let's make it 10,000 because of,
Right.
it would be, if it was configured for storage, so you could stack it higher,
Right.
10,000 may very well work, because we've got a lot of things at low levels, right?
Right,
I mean,
especially in 81 because of
we're
the
just kind of
floor,
stuffing them in cubby holes.
the
and
floor
stuff.
loads and everything else. 81's wasn't built for that.
Okay.
Are we still seeing progress in the reduction of documents?
I'm not involved too much in that, so I can't.
You're not seeing new rooms open up?
I can't answer that now.
I don't think there's any new to open.
Juvenile probate, they have been working on it, they are continually working on it,
But
so.
we need to give, to that point, that's a good point, we need to give the different elected officials a place to put the documents.
Right.
If, I mean, we want them to scan as many as possible, but we gotta be able to say to the clerk of courts, okay, you need to now move them to Carnegie, or you need to move them to the new building, or wherever it might be right now.
Right.
Right now, where are they taking them?
Right, no.
I mean, are they scanning them, or when we say we're eliminating some, where are they going?
The stuff
Shredded.
that Teresa has told me that they're shredding, that
They're
they is
shredding.
no longer needed. They had tons of boxes that were past their retention schedule that they found
Okay.
over there, so those they've gotten rid of. I know
And
they're
that-
getting quotes on scanning, especially their guardianships stuff, that microfiche or microfilm.
Right.
She's getting some costs on that too,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, we just need, I mean, we need to give them a location sooner than later, I would think.
Right, if we're gonna make a
Take
move, we have to tell them where to move. I mean,
Yeah.
that's our responsibility.
I guess I'm just hoping in these estimates of getting these costs, except better than spitball probably, but not to have to go into a lot of expense to get some kind of major study done, just, can we get, I just don't know what that's gonna take. Obviously, the daily cost of operating that building, both buildings, 81 and Carnegie, we have. We can
Right.
run the spreadsheet and tell you, I'm sure on 81, it was something like $7,000-8,000 a year.
Right.
And we don't
And
have
that-
people in
and
that.
that was minimal.
7,800, I think, was the number
Yeah.
someplace in that range, but that didn't include deferred maintenance, that just included heating it and.
Exactly, so we'd
Right.
have that cost, and then we'd have to factor in,
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have it-
replacement of a boiler system, replacement
Right.
of XYZ, whatever all those things are.
And the
how-
Carnegie has like 3
I
different
just don't wanna see us
heating, has
pay
a
a lot of
boiler
cost.
system, but it has 3 different AC units. Not one, which one is now new.
Well, you know, it's like the chicken and the egg here, we want to set a date to sell 81 Jefferson or to dispose of it somehow.
Correct.
But we can't set a date until we give people a place to take the stuff they have in
Right.
it, and give
And
them a
that-
little bit of time to get it out of there.
My reasoning for being here, I
Yeah,
just wanted to bring it
so-
back up, let's get, we need to move on this somewhere, somehow.
When do we reasonably think that Carnegie would be empty?
Year.
If the building is done in December,
Yeah, about a year from now.
okay?
Because with the building done in December, we gotta get our data stuff, our security, our,
Well, it's being done, but how long will it take for the courts to move?
well, that's, I was getting there, yeah, we got the stuff we
Right.
gotta do before they can move. And phones, that's it, phones, data, and security, they can start moving, get everybody in there, then
Now we-
reprogramming of annex,
Well, then we have to redo the annex, there's a lot, it's
the program work there.
13, 14 years old, carpet needs tore out, there's work that needs to be done in the annex before juvenile can go in. So, you know, that's 2 or 3 months of work. Carpenter work, painting work, tile work, floor work.
That would be, the only reason I asked that question is if that was the alternative location to do the storage.
Oh,
Okay, if the alternative, would we have any, if Carnegie doesn't work, would there be any appetite to use a downtown building that was suitable and lease it as opposed to building something new?
Yeah, I would be interested in that.
Especially, well, if we're eliminating a couple of, like, potential of eliminating those from our inventory, one way or the other, whether it's demolition or somebody else takes them, then again, we wouldn't be home, we're talking lease, maybe.
Would we have an appetite to look at the cost of a new building on some property that we own south of town?
I'm not that interested in going south of town with it, just because
Okay.
I think that there's some documents that really need access, or they want access to. I mean, if we were gonna go south of town, I'd say, you know, renovate the old law library or whatever it is out there, the TV hospital, put documents in there.
but that's full of documents.
Yeah, I think it could be organized and,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, well, I just
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
That's just another building we have that is
Yeah,
full.
these,
Right.
And most of that is law books.
I mean, these are all alternative, I just kind
Yeah.
of want to get a sense as to, you know, what we're thinking here. So, the number one, if we could had a magic wand at this point in time, we would use Carnegie Library, is that what we're thinking? If it was-
I just wanna know. I
Okay.
mean, I don't think we can move past that option until we know what it's going to cost.
Okay.
I think it's probably gonna tell us
It,
immediately.
it might, but
You're right.
I hate to make
I
that
agree.
on a.
I
I
agree.
mean,
I
the only
think we
good,
know.
the only good news about finding some facility that was close at this point, to be able to have people start moving documents into that facility, so we could make the decision on 81 Jefferson. We've made the decision to sell it. You know, the question is timing. If we give them 90 days to move the stuff out, you know, then we could set a time for sale of whatever it might be now, November, I guess.
All right.
Are we gonna run into the same issue as if we just get another building to move everything over there? The problem doesn't resolve, the documents aren't getting, you know, they're not looking deeply into what they can get rid of, what they can't get rid of. We
Still
just
have the
move
same old
everything.
bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Band-Aid as opposed to a solution.
I mean, that's
think
what
that-
81 was, we moved out, people started moving stuff in temporarily,
Yeah.
and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, and to your point, Stacy, I think that what we want to do at the same time, wherever we go, is, you know, develop a system, whether that's a centralized scanning or archivist or whatever that solution is,
Not just another closet.
not just another
Yeah.
storage building. So when we talk about this, that's what I'm thinking, is that we're creating the solution. And, you know, some of these documents should be displayed in galleries that people can have access to. I mean, we have some really interesting documents that, you know, people should have access to if they so choose, museum quality stuff.
But until then, we need a climate-controlled area in order to maintain them, so they can be viewed at a later date, another generation or
Before they
whatever.
deteriorate, they can't be.
Yeah, all right.
So
And
my
81
que-
is not it, because it's,
Yeah,
It's-
my question for you then, John, is how do we get to a number on Carnegie? I mean, do we authorize some money to have an engineering study done? Or do we call contractors and say, what do you think it would take to get there? I mean, I want to have a level of detail in the information that,
it depends on how far you want to go in detail. Obviously, the most expensive thing to going in Carnegie would be an elevator.
right,
Okay, access to both floors. You know, the boiler system, we can throw a number on that. There's 2 other air conditioning units in there. We can put a number on that for the future. Walk around the exterior, I mean, you can get all the professional numbers you want, but common sense is gonna tell you that old brick needs repointed, the old roof is a tile type roof, That's gonna need to be probably replaced.
We did some of that in 14, I think.
Right. I was gonna go back and look at it, right,
Yeah.
but I guess.
So you, I mean, we could go as far as you wanted to go, but I think with a real number for an elevator, and then, you know, okay, we just replaced one air conditioning unit for $7,000. I know the other one would be about the same size, and then there's a smaller one, so you got another $7,000 in air conditioning. The boiler's gonna be 7,000 to 10,000. So,
You just weigh those basic numbers against your square footage and what you will or won't, what you would have. I think you're gonna get an answer pretty quick, but
Yeah, I mean, that's
versus
my
having
point.
to do
What is,
those.
you know, what is our choking point? I don't know. I mean, you can, for $60 a square foot, you can
Something
put up
on
a
the square.
storage building. So you could put up 10,000 for 600,000. It would seem to me that you gotta get $600,000 spent in Carnegie pretty quickly. But, I mean, again, I agree that we ought to at least look at it, and then we still have an issue with, when's the roof gonna need to be replaced? Do we need to do some pointing and tucking on the building?
windows are original windows.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, okay, well, but it's worth, as Shane said, from an efficiency standpoint, it's worth at least looking at it, but my belief, I have a preconceived notion, maybe that isn't true.
Yeah.
But I think if we just get the basic costs, like you said, we can quickly come to without having to spend,
Right.
in answer to the question, do we need to have an engineer estimate or, formal study done? I think we start looking at that and weighing that against square footage, I think we're gonna
Right.
get to
if
where we
have an
probably
el-
can make a decision without.
If we have an
going deeper.
elevator estimate from some time ago, I mean, we can put an inflation number on it and have a pretty good
I'll
guess.
see if they ever went that far to get detailed numbers, because
Okay.
that was before I started. But I'll contact Teresa.
We have
She'll remember about it.
we use an elevator service out of Fostoria. We use the same service to rebuild our elevator in the CSB building.
Yeah.
Let me call them, say, hey, have you put a new elevator in lately?
What did it cost to rebuild it, do you remember?
You really don't want to know.
Yeah.
I thought that was a big number, though.
200,000.
The one with CSB.
200,000. That was a rebuild of existing.
160?
Yeah.
200,
And
almost
an
200.
interior
It was
versus this
200.
would be an exterior, something like they did at the courthouse in Sandusky County.
You know what, we
Knights-
could,
Knights
we
of
could
Columbus
call
would
the,
be a good
we could
example
call the
of what it
Knights of
looked like.
Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you
Knights
go.
of Columbus put one
did
in
one.
That was
about
100,000, that was 15.
15 years ago, yeah.
Okay, so that's 150 today.
Yeah. So that's, I'll still call and see if they can throw a number at me,
Okay,
without.
so, from my standpoint, I'd like to get a date that we're gonna sell 81 Jefferson. And I know Shane has been anxious to have that done too. You know, I think, we just need to, we have all decided that it's not worth keeping. We need to come up with a date to get rid of it. And I'd like to be able to, in my sense, we need to know where the stuff's gonna go, at least to give them a fair chance to get rid of it, so then we can sell that. Then we need to decide whether or not we are keeping or going to try to dispose of Carnegie based on the numbers. Our history hasn't been real good as a county with maintaining old facilities. I don't know if it's gonna get any better. So, we at least need to have that conversation.
Well, at this stage, I'm not sure, do we want it any better? You
Well,
know,
that's-
I
that's
mean,
right.
You know,
I mean, yeah.
you know,
I mean, so I think those are the major issues. Where are we gonna store the stuff? And, what buildings do we need to dispose of and move on?
Well, I think we can come to the decision of eliminating the Carnegie from being a possibility pretty quickly with these
Sure.
numbers.
Besides that, it's not
A
available
week
for
or 2
another,
weeks.
it's not gonna be available for another whole year anyhow.
Right.
Right,
So,
right.
you know, roughly,
And then-
June of next year, July of next year.
But and also though, part of the Carnegie analysis has to, not only how much it's gonna cost to renovate it and do whatever deferred maintenance we have to do, but what is that gonna cost to operate versus a building that is newly insulated and, is designed, if you
Right,
will.
it's a solid stone structure
Yeah.
type building.
I mean, how much additional space do you have to heat and stuff in the Carnegie as opposed to a building that's made for?
Right.
I don't know the answer to that, but my sense is that it's significant.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
thank you. Any other discussion about any of that? Let's go on.
Should we
to-
set a time to revisit that conversation? How much time do you need? Do you need 6 weeks to bring that back to us in the
Well,
Carnegie?
Yeah, I mean, probably not quite that much, but,
Well, let's do 2 weeks from today, whatever that date happens to be.
okay.
That'd be the day I'm not here.
Let's put it out, in September sometime.
All right,
Early September.
first meeting in September.
Do you, to just, I mean, on all of it or just on the Carnegie numbers?
Just on the Carnegie.
Because I would think,
Yeah.
have it sooner, but.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we can get it before that.
yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah,
I'll get it to you.
But if we don't hear it, we'll read it.
right, just
We'll
make sure that
revisit
we
it
don't
on the
miss it.
5th.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a quick question for John. Before the meeting started, you and I were just kind of kibitzing about Carnegie, or about the J.J. Newberry building. Has any consideration been given, with the emphasis on keeping this downtown, about buying that building at a reasonable enough cost that would allow Deckers to build a building outside of town to store what they're storing there now?
Last year, I spoke to a couple of the Decker boys, and they're not interested in selling the building at that point. That was last year. Whether it could be renovated and so forth and rented out, that's one of the things we need to start looking at.
Just to clarify, Ron, we have spoken to a number of property owners in the downtown area who have buildings that are vacant or near vacant, to talk to them about the possibility of storage for the county. There has been no serious discussion, nor has there been any negotiation with anyone.
So that's been research you've been doing?
Right, about that.
Right.
We were looking at, the alternatives that I see are using an existing facility that has open space that would be a better storage facility, deciding whether Carnegie is gonna work or not, or looking at the possibility of building something new. Those are the three alternatives as I see them now. And the second alternative regarding having a building downtown is open to a number of facilities that we've considered, walked through, talked to people about. So we shouldn't focus on one, is my point. 'cause
Right.
There's a number of them that are
But
possibilities.
when you say no serious discussion, you're talking about both on leasing space and buying
Right.
it.
We haven't talked about.
Heard it all here.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Okay. Good?
Yep, good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Okay, county fair display is what I have next, Commissioner.
Just open to ideas, we will have a couple panels on the new display boards. John, I was gonna say, John just.
Do I need to say?
No, you don't, I was just gonna say, John just left, but I was gonna give him kudos because he's working with regional planning, and they helped establish some bases for these new display boards. The tent's gonna have a whole new appeal and all that. So in essence of time, appreciate your efforts on that. But for our county actual display on a couple of those panels, I wasn't sure what we had interest in. We've done everything from pictures of in the 5 years I've been around, pictures of elected officials to Justice Center, total Justice Center renovation stuff last year, because it was right after the groundbreaking, which that anniversary is next week. I was thinking titling something County on the Move and doing before and after pictures of prosecutor space. Board of Elections would be a little hard to do after because it's not after as at the Justice Center, but those being three main things, this is focuses we've had. I'm open to other ideas, just need to decide soon. And if everybody wants to help put things together, we can get pictures
Well,
pulled.
I think it's a good idea, make sure you include the museum in that.
Yep, museum stuff again now.
Obviously, the prosecutor's office, as you say, Board of Elections progress. I think, so the theme of progress is certainly a good theme to have.
Yeah, you have the renderings from the counter for the Board of Elections.
Which is being built literally as we speak. He just called me a while ago.
Okay, well, then I'm
You can
gonna
use
leave-
that as an after.
I got you.
Thanks, John.
Okay.
Well, I think,
That's why I just thought
some of the items are gonna be included in the time capsule, and maybe people will have some additional input there. When you have the public all there looking at it, you get Stacy to, maybe do a little display about what her thoughts are. I know we got a big board out here listing all kinds of things that we're talking about putting in there, but, a picture of the new, what the cornerstone's gonna look like on the Justice Center maybe, or,
The upcoming related things for that. Okay.
yeah, so I think there are a lot of things that you can,
Okay. I just
Go
wanted,
before and
like I said,
after.
I knew I wouldn't think of everything, so I wanted to ask you guys what you thought, and we'll get that pulled together. Cool, thanks.
okay. All right, so on other new business, we have appropriations.
Yep, one thing I'll mention quick, board session next Tuesday is our evening meeting, and I think at our last meeting, we decided to schedule the work session at 6:30, normal session beginning at 7, if we still think we need the work session, and that is in Seneca Township. Do you have the address?
It just says at a junction of
Is it-
6
Petticoat
to 7.
Junction?
I emailed them to ask them, because I tried calling them to get the
Is it their
exact.
township house?
Yeah,
Okay.
I tried to get the exact address, but they didn't answer, so I sent them an email too.
Okay, I'll try to call them again.
Seneca Township
I do
House.
not remember.
Okay.
Fire station.
So just wanted to remind everybody that was our evening meeting, so.
It's the
And we're-
18th.
So, we are on at 6:30?
Yeah. Right now, I don't have any topics that I know of for work session, but I'm sure we've got a week, we can come up with some.
Okay.
Okay, new resolutions. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the concealed handgun license fund. I sent you an email last week. Sheriff Eckelberry had commented that the new House bill has allowed him to use the concealed license to purchase ammo and firearms and such, so I asked him to send up the request of what he actually needed. He has the funds there, so he's doing,
This doesn't affect the general fund in
Does
any way,
not.
this is just additional fees.
yeah, this is the
Okay.
fund, money he gets back when he,
A licensing?
license gets,
Right,
so,
yeah. Consider here,
so
yeah.
it's $13,031 into supplies. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $75 from Veteran Services burials line to burials plot line, $75. I have an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $1,540.33 from supplies to transports at the request of the sheriff. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the general fund, putting $2,700 into other expense. And this is to the TPA administration and membership is the note she has on here. TPA, I should know what that means. Not that's good.
Insurance related?
Should be, it's other expense, so there's usually only dues and fees, stuff paid out of theirs.
Association.
Third party
Yeah.
administrator?
Oh, yeah, you on
Oh,
workers'
yeah,
comp?
yeah, might be
Yeah.
work, yeah,
It would be third party commission.
okay. Acronyms get me every time. I have a resolution authorizing an appropriation adjustment within the general fund, moving $186.04 from other expense to supplies at the request of the reporter. I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R fund. He's moving a total of $26,000 from his equipment contract services to steel and materials. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the maintenance and repair fund. He's doing a step up into contract projects for $679,662.23.
What is that for?
That one is, I think he has the contract here for that one. No, that's the corrections. It's the M&V asphalt for the Seneca County Road 59 pavement resurfacing project. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made to the Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund, moving $30,000 from her 159 account to her 162 account. Is there a grant year change?
Does that go from delinquent care and custody of foster kids to another account?
It's two different funds for two very different calendar years. Once they end the fiscal year at the end of June, they have to transfer what's into that to the new,
But
the
they're
auditor.
used for the same purpose,
Yes,
though? Okay,
yes,
all
yeah,
right.
they're just tracking it, the different fiscal years. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Wolf Creek Petition Ditch Fund, increasing contract services by $84,400 and advertising by $600. This is due to the estimates we received recently. A resolution authorizing the disposal of unneeded, obsolete, or unfit county-owned property. A 1995 International dump truck on behalf of the Seneca County Engineer, and he also has a 2003 Ford F-250 he is disposing of as well. Nope, one more. A 1999 Ford F-250. Looks like they've sold these to Highway 101. One was $500, one was $2,500, and one was $350. And I have a resolution authorizing annual assessment upon benefited landowners as defined in section 6131.01 of the Ohio Revised Code. Approval of proposed maintenance work for the several single county ditches presently under maintenance work for the 2017, and approval of request for maintenance assessment for maintenance work performed as submitted by Seneca Soil and Water Conservation District, Ditch Maintenance Department, and approved by the Seneca County Engineer pursuant of section 6137.03.
All right. Easy for you to say.
Right. A resolution authorizing Seneca County Board of Commissioners to enter into a contract with M&B Asphalt for the Seneca County Road 59 pavement resurfacing. That's what we did the sub app for. I have a resolution appointing Mike DeWine, Ohio Attorney General, Special Prosecutor regarding the criminal prosecution and or criminal representation of a criminal matter of law, and any of his assistant attorney generals as he shall determine, including but not limited to Holly England and Brian Deckert. Which I think, going through the paperwork, the cases regarding Holly England and Brian Deckert is the assistant special prosecutor. I have a resolution authorizing a contract agreement with M&B Asphalt for the sheriff and engineer's parking lot. Total amount for those projects was $159,761. I have a resolution authorizing Holly M. Stacy to sign the Ohio Public Works Commission project agreement for the Ohio Local Transportation Improvement Program. And I have a resolution setting time, date, and place to receive sealed bids for the Wolf Creek Petition Ditch Log Jam and Selective Tree Removal Project. This will be set for August 8th at 10:30 a.m. here at the Commissioner's office.
That's bids for the actual work.
The construction work,
For the actual
Yep.
construction work.
You said August 8th?
August 8th, yes. I have a resolution authorizing the agreement for the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Correction Subsidy Grant for FY 18 and 19 on behalf of the Seneca County Common Police Court 1 and 2. And then I have the permanent, supplement to the permanent appropriations to the Ohio History Connection, Over Pipeline Community Historic Preservation Fund for $50,000 into contract services. And I think that's all I have.
Okay, I'll accept the motion to approve appropriation and transfers and resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Any additional discussion? I just have one thing that I brought up before, and I'll see, I don't know that I've ever been absolutely denied this, but I'd like to figure out a way to give the county administrator permission up to $500 to approve these if they're within budget, and that these be ratified at the next commissioners meeting. We have had dollar transfers, we have had $4 transfers. Have we had this discussion with the prosecutor? Is it legal?
Yeah, Derek was looking into it, and I also sent a broadcast out to my other county administrators, getting copy of their resolutions. Quite a few of them do allow transfers other than out of salaries, sometimes
But if
they'll.
it's one account to another account within their budget and it's within their budget framework, it just goes from A to B.
Yeah, and the ones I've gotten go up to the same threshold as the 50,000 that I currently have for contracts. But
Okay.
I'll get all that. I want Derek to look at those.
All right, well, let's pick out a number and go from there, the one that makes sense, because, I think we ought to ratify them at the next meeting, ratify the actions of the administrator, so we have a knowledge of it, but I don't think we need to sign each individual appropriation for $3.12.
And we're still working with Julie to be able to get it on VIP to do that, so she's working on that.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
Roll call, oh, I'm sorry,
I would say I agree with it, looking at that, yeah.
roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Frischman?
Yes. Okay, it is time for public comment. Would anyone have anything they'd like to say? Yes, Tom?
Got a couple of comments. Talk about storage over here in this building, full of windows. Why would you use a building that's got windows in it for storage? And then second thought on that, if you're thinking about an elevator, what's wrong with a dumbwaiter instead of an elevator? Why does a person have to ride this if you're going to go that route?
Okay.
The other
Two
comment,
points, yes.
the other comment, I don't know how you could beat building a new building out of block with a tin roof, insulate the hell out of it, no windows, a few of these block windows in it just for a little bit of light. That would be the route to go, I would think. It just seems that's the way to go. You insulate the hell out of it. And these other buildings, you can't insulate them. So it's gonna take a ton of money to keep them cool and warm, to control the humidity. Just a comment.
Thank you.
Duly noted.
Anything else? We are adjourned at 11:16.